Hi everyone, it's Kino. I'm here in beautiful Bali and I just arrived after a really long travel. While it's still really fresh in my mind, I thought I'd share with you some tips for yoga you can do on the airplane. And one of the things that comes up for me when I travel for a long time is that the body gets really stiff, especially if you're sitting in a really small seat and you're cramped for a long period of time. The flight from California to Hong Kong, which is where we connected, is about 14 hours and 40 minutes, or 14 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. So it's a really long flight. And what I definitely recommend is, regardless of where you're sitting, whether you're sitting in economy or business or even first, if you're lucky enough to get that awesome seat, then take some time and do some stretching, before the plane lands. Try to sleep as much as you can during the flight. Don't stay up and watch tons of movies. Close your eyes and rest as much as you can. If you can't sleep on the airplane, then I'd recommend you practice your meditation technique, whether you're doing mantra meditation or just a simple meditation of bringing your mind to the breath. If you can look ahead and figure out, when it's night in the place that you're traveling to, and you can keep your eyes closed and kind of expose yourself to darkness, or, keep the window shades closed or put on an eye mask or something during the travel, that will really help you acclimate. Now, if you're in your seat, what can you really realistically do? There are a couple of things that I think are really useful. If you stay for a long time and you're hunched over, your shoulders really get turned in. Something that I really love to do when the plane is landing and I'm ready to sort of get off is to really open the shoulders. So you can just, in your seat, whether you're sitting cross-legged in your seat, if you're small enough to do that, if you're sitting with your knees together, you can lift your shoulders up, interlock your fingers in the back, and usually if you push your chest a little forward, you can take your fingers right onto the back of the seat and press, and that's going to help you open the shoulder girdle. I'll show you from the side so you can really see. So if you're there, you just pivot your pelvis a little forward, interlock your fingers, and then push the chest forward. And if you can really press your hands into the seat behind you, that'll really help you get a lot of reach and lift forward. So you can just press. And that movement is really going to help open the shoulders. If you want, while you're doing this, you can really extend your spine and try to lift your ribs and then lean your head all the way back. And that'll help get release to some of the tension around the neck muscles that comes from holding them for long periods of time. Now, the next thing you can do to, again, release the upper back and release the neck and shoulders while you're traveling is you can kind of do the half version of like a sun salutation in extension of the spine. So you could start off with your hands in prayer and then just bring them right over the top of your head and raise your hands right up. And it's really important when you do that that you really roll your shoulder blades down the back and you lift the chest. Also, when you're doing your practice, but especially if you're doing this to get rid of tension in the shoulders from traveling. So you would go forward, hands in prayer, reach your hands over the head, then bend your elbows, send your chest forward, and just really stretch back. And then you could even, if possible, put your fingers on your seat and press a little bit on the seat, keeping the elbows by the ears, and that's going to help you get rid of the tension all around the neck. I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So if you're here, you come here, you could raise your hands straight up, and if that's a lot of work for you, you could stay there. Or hands over the head and just reach, lean back, press them into your seat. Drop your head a little back. You can see there's a slight spinal extension, and that just feels really good after being hunched over for a long period of time. One other thing I really like to do when I'm traveling is to go to the galleys where there's a lot of area and there's a lot of space. Usually they're pretty empty, especially all the way in the back of the plane. And then what I like to do is do maybe some yoga postures that are generally pretty easy but feel really good, like a sun salutation in A. No jumping, because you're on an airplane. You don't really want to bounce the airplane, so definitely no jumping. But a nice, easy sun salutation A where you hold downward dog, and some standing postures like Trikonasana or triangle posture, maybe warrior posture or something like that to help get the legs going. One last thing that you can do in your seat without even getting up that would really be helpful, because the legs really get a lot of blood and a lot of gravity almost, you could say, because you're there with the feet down the whole time. Pick your legs up into your chest and kind of hang out there in your seat for a moment. If you can, if you're small enough, you can hold underneath the backs of your knees and just pull your legs up, hold on to them, and pull them into your chest. Now, if you can't do that in your seat, maybe you could do one, so you could leave one leg down and hold one leg into your chest and bring it up and just hold it in for a moment. And then even just that little moment of getting the feet above the head will help the circulation of all the blood that's rushing to the feet get back down. So it's like almost like a half inversion. You can switch, pull the other one into your chest, bring it all the way up. What I love about doing this on the airplane is you can lean your back into the seat, so you have the whole support of the seat behind you. So if you're going to do it with both, even just staying like that for a moment of getting the knees into the chest can be really useful. Then you can take both legs up, and again, the seat is really supporting you, so there's not that much, and not that much effort. And That feels really nice to get like a little semi-inversion. Of course, if you're traveling like in business class, you got that whole space, you can even do headstand or you could do shoulder stand. Anything to get the feet elevated would be really, really helpful. So if you're taking a long travel, don't forget to add a little bit of yoga into your journey. When you get to the airport, if you have a long layover, find a quiet space and do a short practice, especially if you have access to some of the lounges where you can take a shower after. That's perfect. San Francisco Airport, they even have a yoga room, so there's no excuse not to practice. So I hope that yoga will help your journey be more balanced, help jet lag get a little bit lower when you get there, and if you get to a beautiful, warm, tropical place like we are here in Bali, one thing you can be sure of is that your practice will feel really awesome once you do get there because the air and the humidity and the heat feel so good in the body. If you're traveling back to a cold place and it's winter, be calm with yourself. Don't expect your body to feel wow and amazing like it did in that beautiful tropical place where you visited, and give yourself time to really readjust. Thanks so much for watching.